Welcome to the Golden Seams, where we, Gabe and Michae, your hosts, invite you to join us on a transformative journey of self-discovery and personal growth. Our podcast is all about helping you uncover your authentic self, find your true calling, and create prosperity in alignment with your deepest values and aspirations.
We're embarking into the realm of self-love and self-worth, guided by the illuminating wisdom of Brené Brown's The Gifts of Imperfection. Prepare to challenge societal expectations and embrace your authentic self as we delve into this groundbreaking work that has touched millions of lives worldwide. Through Brown's expertise for wholehearted living, we'll discover together how to let go of who we think we're supposed to be and embrace who we truly are.
The Golden Seams Mastermind Memoir segment features extraordinary guests who will help us explore the depths of self-discovery and personal growth. Prepare to be captivated by Joe, an extraordinary psychic medium hailing from the UK and founder of the Spiritual Gateway. Joe's unique blend of talents as a past life regression specialist, intuitive tarot reader, quantum jumping expert, and paranormal investigator promises to take our exploration of self-discovery to otherworldly heights. In a truly unique offering, Joe will introduce us to the fascinating world of quantum jumping. She'll explain how delving into our soul's various journeys can shed light on our current experiences, helping us overcome deep-seated patterns, advance our personal growth, and amplify our unique gifts. This extraordinary exploration offers profound insights into tapping into our already developed skills, empowering us to embrace self-love and cultivate self-worth in our present lives. By understanding the wisdom gleaned from alternate experiences that vibrationally match our individual souls, we'll discover how to live more wholeheartedly, accepting our authentic selves with compassion and courage. Join us for this unforgettable journey of self-discovery, where the keys to living a more fulfilling life may lie in the secrets of our soul's journeys, guiding us towards a future brimming with self-acceptance and purpose.
Also joining us as we explore self-love and wholehearted living is Tanya from Hong Kong and the UK. Creator of the Compassionate Couch and an international holistic wellness practitioner. As a transformative hypnotherapist and wellness facilitator, Tanya empowers individuals to achieve balance, healing, and holistic well-being by shifting limiting beliefs and breaking negative patterns. Her work, deeply rooted in the mind-body connection, spans a diverse range of subjects including vision boarding, manifestation, gratitude, and personal empowerment. Tanya hosts wellness workshops and hypno-meditation classes, inspiring transformation and unlocking human potential. She will be illuminating the path to manifesting our authentic selves through the art of vision boarding. Tanya will guide us in creating powerful visual representations of our deepest aspirations and self-worth, demonstrating how these tangible reminders can nurture our journey towards wholehearted living. Through this creative process, we'll learn to embrace our imperfections, visualize our potential, and courageously step into a future aligned with our true selves. Tanya's expertise will help us transform abstract concepts of self-love into concrete daily practices, empowering us to live with purpose and joy. And, as an added bonus for our tiered Patreon members, Tanya will be sharing a special session connecting each of you to your vision board aspirations and bringing them forward into your life.
Each of these inspiring women will offer unique perspectives on self-exploration and personal development, providing you with practical tools to enhance your journey of self-discovery and growth. Now, let's get into wholeheartedness.
Love is the most important thing in our lives, a passion for which we would fight or die, and yet we're reluctant to linger over its names. Diane Ackerman. Love and belonging are essential to the human experience. I realized that only one thing separated the research participants who felt a deep sense of love and belonging from the people who seemed to be struggling for it. That one thing is the belief in their worthiness. If we want to fully experience love and belonging, we must believe that we are worthy of love and belonging. When we can let go of what other people think and own our story, we gain access to our worthiness, the feeling that we are enough, just as we are, and that we are worthy of love and belonging. When we spend a lifetime trying to distance ourselves from the parts of our lives that don't fit with who we think we're supposed to be, we stand outside of our story and hustle for our worthiness by constantly performing, perfecting, pleasing, and proving. Our sense of worthiness, that critically important piece that gives us access to love and belonging, lives inside of our story. The greatest challenge for most of us is believing that we are worthy now, right this minute. Worthiness doesn't have prerequisites. That's from Brené Brown, Exploring the Power of Love, Belonging, and Being Enough, The Gifts of Imperfection. In this episode, Gabe and I are going to be talking about love, belonging, fitting in, self-love, and courage. Brené goes on to share with us this long list of worthiness prerequisites. She goes into everything from I'll be worthy when I lose 20 pounds, if I can do X, Y, or Z, if I can make a living selling my art, if I can hold my marriage together, when I make partner. I know people that have determined their worthiness on whether or not someone asked them to marry them, different things like that, or very big things such as when their parents finally approve, or if he calls back and asks me out, that sort of thing. It takes me to this mindset that I've always sort of had. Do you work out for you or for your health? Or do you work out for the acceptance and approval of others? Do you wear makeup for yourself, or do you wear makeup because you feel like people treat you better, or do you just do it because you feel better about yourself because people treat you better? Just that whole spiral. What car do you drive? What do we indirectly or habitually do to prove our worthiness? Seeking out approval through our degrees, our education, our careers, where we live, the size of the rock on your hand. Whatever these pieces are, they're in every culture and every society. Posing these questions not in judgment, just in awareness, how intriguing it is to take all of that away. If we were to pare everything down to where we're naked, to where it's just us, do we feel worthy being exactly who we are? Brené goes on and she says, here's what is truly at the heart of wholeheartedness: worthy now, not if, not when. We are worthy of love and belonging now, right this minute, as is. Brené shares another critical piece of owning our story and claiming our worthiness is cultivating a better understanding of love and belonging.
Defining love and belonging. Brené says, you might say I love you every day, but when's the last time you had a serious conversation with someone about the meaning of love? Love is the mirror image of shame. We desperately don't want to experience shame, and we're not willing to talk about it. Yet the only way to resolve shame is to talk about it. Shame and love are grounded in vulnerability and tenderness.
How do we actually define love? Thinking back in my life, I had a relationship with a man, and we came from different cultures and different parts of the world. This relationship had a very big impact on my life. But because of our cultural differences, we had to define our understanding of love and what that meant actionably to each of us, because we knew that we loved each other, but we wanted to make sure that we understood it based on each of our cultural differences and our cultural values. Very interesting to me, even thinking of us being from the same culture, but still needing to understand how to actionably speak each other's love language, if you will.
It's such an interesting question to think of a universal definition for love that is all around applicable. That is tricky. I know better what it's not than what it is.
Oh, interesting. The other piece that jumps out at me there is love is the mirror image of shame. Brené goes on to share with us about belonging. She says belonging is another topic that is essential to the human experience but rarely discussed. Most of us use the terms fitting in and belonging interchangeably, and like many of you, I'm really good at fitting in, she says. We know exactly how to hustle for approval and acceptance. We know what to wear, what to talk about, how to make people happy, what not to mention. We know how to chameleon our way through the day. This takes me into the masks that we wear, how we're socialized. It reminds me of that definition of fitting in, how my parents sent me to finishing school. Then I grew up and I realized very much what Brené goes on to share with us, which is fitting in and belonging are not the same thing. Fitting in gets in the way of belonging, she says. Fitting in is about assessing a situation and becoming who you need to be accepted. Belonging, on the other hand, doesn't require us to change who we are, it requires us to be who we are. When I grew up, I realized that I never have and I never will belong with my birth family. It doesn't mean I don't love them, I do, but I know that I don't belong with them. I have to fit in if I'm going to be with them. And I'm too old to wear those masks anymore. Again, nothing against them. It's just who I became and who I am because that's who I always was.
That's so deep.
I simply share that vulnerability about myself, posing the question, how many of us, how many of you are in situations or relationships where you don't belong?
But are fitting in just fine.
Yes. Brené says before she shares her definitions with you, she wants to point out 3 issues that she's willing to call truths. Love and belonging will always be uncertain. Relationship and connection happen in an indefinable space between people, a space that will never be fully known or understood by us. Love belongs with belonging. One of the most surprising things that unfolded in her research is the pairing of certain terms. She says, I can't separate the concepts of love and belonging because when people spoke of one, they always talked about the other. The same holds true for the concepts of joy and gratitude. When emotions or experiences are so tightly woven together in people's stories that they don't speak of one without the other, it's not an accidental entanglement. It's an intentional knot. Love belongs with belonging. Brené says, I'm willing to call this a fact. A deep sense of love and belonging is an irreducible human need from the moment we're born until the day we die. The absence of love and belonging will always lead to suffering. When those needs are not met, we don't function as we were meant to. We break, we fall apart, we numb, we ache, we hurt others, we get sick. And while there are many causes for illness, numbing, and hurt, the clear thing to understand here is the absence of love and belonging will always lead to suffering.
This idea of comparing fitting in and belonging, it reminds me of this meme that I've seen. There's a head of garlic with a clove missing, and in its place is the wedge from a mandarin orange. Underneath it, it says, not every place you fit in is where you belong. So powerful.
It's a great illustration.
More to consider than just how the environment feels about us. Brené shares her definition of love. We cultivate love when we allow our most vulnerable and powerful selves to be deeply seen and known, and when we honor the spiritual connection that grows from that offering with trust, respect, kindness, and affection. Love is not something we give or get. It is something that we nurture and grow, a connection that can only be cultivated between 2 people when it exists within each one of them. We can only love others as much as we love ourselves. Shame, blame, disrespect, betrayal, and the withholding of affection damage the roots from which love grows. Love can only survive these injuries if they are acknowledged, healed, and rare. Brené's definition of belonging. Belonging is the innate human desire to be part of something larger than us. Because this yearning is so primal, we often try to acquire it by fitting in and by seeking approval, which are not only hollow substitutes for belonging, but often barriers to it. Because true belonging only happens when we present our authentic, imperfect selves to the world, our sense of belonging can never be greater than our level of self-acceptance.
In that definition of love, we can only love others as much as we love ourselves. In that definition of belonging, our sense of belonging can never be greater than our level of self-acceptance. My daughter and I, we have this saying, 6 feet tall, 6-inch heels. Had friends who went on and modeled and did different things. They were very tall until they owned how tall they were. Once they did, they'd wear these really high heels, and it was magnificent seeing my friends step into that. I use that understanding with owning your authenticity, of owning who you are. Whenever we are in a situation where we feel it might be intimidating or scary, we always say, 6 feet tall, 6-inch heels.
So awesome. I love that. That is awesome. Enjoyed what you heard? There's more to explore. For full-length discussions, exclusive content, and easy-to-use tools designed to effortlessly support your authentic transformation, subscribe to our Patreon, The Golden Seams. Don't miss out. We welcome you to join our growing community and dive deeper into the topics you love. Experience The Golden Seams on Patreon and unlock the complete experience for yourself now. These two parts about we can only love others as much as we love ourselves, and we can only have a sense of belonging that's on the level of our own self-acceptance, makes me believe this thing that I've heard before. All love is self-love, and all hate is self-hate.
Brené says, if you look at the definition of love and think about what it means in terms of self-love, it's very specific. Practicing self-love means learning how to trust ourselves, to treat ourselves with respect, and to be kind and affectionate toward ourselves. Brené goes on to talk about how hard we are on ourselves, that we say things that we would never say to someone we cared about or loved. We would never call that person stupid or I'm an idiot. How could I do that? We would never say that to another person. She says, I'm convinced that belonging is in our DNA, most likely connected to our most primitive survival instinct. Given how difficult it is to cultivate self-acceptance in our perfectionistic society, and how our need for belonging is hardwired, it's no wonder that we spend our lives trying to fit in and gain approval. It's so much easier to say, I'll be whoever or whatever you need me to be as long as I feel like I'm part of this. From groupthink to gossiping, we'll do what it takes to fit in if we believe it will meet our need for belonging. But it doesn't. We can only belong when we offer our most authentic selves and when we're embraced for who we are. I actually believe that it is the light within our DNA. It's the essence of our souls, which connects us to our Creator. What do you think it means to our Creator, the Creator of all creation, when we look upon one another and force one another to fit in, and we call it belonging? When we judge, label, or devalue each other, we actually stop expansion, and then we have only done it to ourselves by blocking another's expansion and forcing them to fit in. I simply want to pose the question, do we really know enough to be passing judgment upon another or even ourselves? And I know many of our listeners are outside of the US, but we come from a nation in the United States where a person who is of African American descent or a black man was once considered 3/5 of a person. It took 100 years for the people of this nation to figure out and give the right for black men to vote. I can't even begin to discuss women. I simply want to say, what do we think we're doing in all of this? And this goes back to self-love and self-worth. That's the basis of what this is. I'm not, again, saying any of this in judgment. I'm just taking you through my thought processes, my understanding, and what my experience has evolved me to. This takes us into practicing love and belonging. To begin by always thinking of love as an action rather than a feeling is one way in which anyone using the word in this manner automatically assumes accountability and responsibility. This is a quote that Brené shares by Bell Hooks. Brené tells us, how I behave every day is as important, if not more important, than saying I love you every day. When we don't practice love with the people we claim to love, it takes a lot out of us. Incongruent living is exhausting. She talks about professing love and practicing love, and she says, I don't just want someone who says they love me, I want someone who practices that love for me every day. This is one of the key reasons why I'm exclusive in my relationships, because it matters to me how people show up in my life. It is such a big deal to me how a person shows up and the caliber of who they are and who their truths are, and that they stand in integrity. Maybe I sound like I'm being judgmental, or maybe I sound like I'm being unloving, but my inner circle is an exclusive place to be. And I will always keep it that way. That is about my self-worth and who's in my life and who supports me. And then I am given the privilege and the opportunity to love and support them in return.
Very good boundaries. I think that's how you created that space.
Yes. Brené says cultivating self-love and self-acceptance is not optional. They are priorities. I think when you get to a certain space in your life or a certain point, if you realize, as I've shared before, you climbed and put the ladder and went all the way up the wall, found out that this is absolutely not who or where or what you wanted to be, that introspection, that crisis, whatever it is that gets you to step down off of that ladder, carry it around and start looking for the wall that you want to put it on, start exploring, expanding, and stepping into your authentic self. It always starts with boundaries, but the foundation of that is self-love and self-worth.
It's like the fuel for the boundaries. It also guarantees loving, caring boundaries where you're not doing boundary setting with any sort of negativity or hatred because it's coming from self-love.
It's coming from your needs.
Your needs, yeah. Nice.
It's also coming from valuing the other person and the relationship you have with that person.
Brené posed the question, can we love others more than we love ourselves on her blog?
We're truly grateful for your presence and participation in this journey of self-discovery and personal growth. Remember, your path to authenticity and prosperity is unique, and we're honored to be a part of it. If you found value in today's episode, we invite you to like, subscribe, and share it with others who might benefit. Until next time, embrace your imperfections and let them be your greatest gifts.
This is Gabe and Michae signing off from the Golden Seams. May you discover the courage to be vulnerable, the compassion to love yourself, and the wisdom to live wholeheartedly. May your path be golden as you find the strength to mend and beautify the broken parts of your life, weaving golden threads through the fabric of your authentic self, just like the art of kintsugi. We'll see you in our next episode.